Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. I clicked the wrong tab there and you saw a different thing than I wanted you to, which is fine. I'm Pat Bear. I'm here to build model kits to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Barricade Lego the Scythe emote in the chat. If you're currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes, which would be great. I would love to see it. Wristvan's already throwing them in there. Appreciate that. Throwing in that tier 2 emote, which is always nice. That's the Scythe. That's me as a death Scythe. Because you can just pay someone to do that. I know you know this. I've said this before, but if you wanted to, you could just pay someone to make emotes, and they're just you. I got 2 out of 3 of my emotes are just me as a thing. This is a thing you can do. What will my 4th emote be? I mean, it'll probably be me as a Dragon Ball character, but it'll just be me, and I'm a Dragon Ball character. That's just a thing I'll be able to do because I occasionally have money. Hope everyone's doing it well out there. As always, yeah, throw those emotes in. If you're not currently a subscriber here, I mean, what are you doing? But you could also, Lashbrook, am I muted for anyone else? Lashbrook's asking if it's muted for anyone else. I would love to see someone reply yes or no to that, because I don't think I'm muted. Okay, Rister can hear. Bobby Dice Roller also can hear. And Stabby, hey, Stabby Tabby Cat, hey, what's up? Can also hear. Welcome, welcome. So I guess I could have checked as well, and I didn't. I could have, I guess, checked my own audio. Okay, yeah, my audio works. I heard it. Also, hello. Hey, what's up? What's up, Tabby? But yeah, Lashbrook, I hope you can eventually hear me because it's nice having you here. Okay, what's on the agenda tonight? The agenda tonight is we're working on the Gyan, the old Gyan right here, which is a fun kit. This is the 2016 revive of the kit, so it's slightly different. It is more aligned with the, it is more, I would say it's a little more anime accurate than previous versions of the kit. It's a nice, easy kit, simple to assemble. Happy to work on that. What else are we working on? That I think we're going to finish that tonight. So I've already prepped for what do we do after that. And I'm finally going to build, this kit came out in 2007. I bought it in 2021, in January of 2021, with money that I got Amazon gift cards. And I bought it in January, and it has been sitting in my backlog. And there were times where there would be only like one thing in my backlog, and it was this, the Strike Noir Gundam. Now, a thing that, a knock on the Strike Noir is we built the better version of it. We built the Otery, the Strike Otery, which is like, I think, a cooler version. And that just like ended up happening, and that wasn't planned. Lesper says a refresh fixed that. That's great. So we already built, I think, a better version of the Strike. Also, hey, here's a weird thing. This kit came out in 2007 and had screws. These are 4 tiny screws. We'll show them later. This kit has screws, and it came out in I mean, I'm going to double check again, but 99% sure that this is a 2007 kit. I'm going to look at the instructions here. Yeah, this is a 2007 kit, and it has screws in it, and that's really weird. Like, that's a late 90s thing, like a mid to late 90s thing, not a 2007 thing. To have screws on a master grade. Weird. That's bizarre. I hadn't noticed that till today when I started getting the box of that. But yeah, I'm going to build the Strike Noir, which I have not. I really like the look of. And of course, you know, we'll chat about that as we go. And as we get into the Gyan. And then as far as conversation tonight, we're going to talk about some anime. We're going to talk about some manga. We'll briefly talk about the THQ Nordic announcements because it was the 10th anniversary of Nordic. It's weird to say it's the 10th anniversary of THQ Nordic because that isn't true. But we'll talk about the 2 games they announced that I'm actually interested in. They announced a bunch of other games that I don't care about. So we'll talk about the 2. And of course, if you watched that presentation, which was really just, I mean, most of that presentation was just them listing games because they don't have trailers for them. They made like a video, one of the games they made like a video to a part of the thing that it's based on. I was just like, oh, okay, you don't have anything to show me about this game. Okay, sure. We'll talk about that, and then I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about a little food. It's an if you're here in America, it's a National Cheeseburger Day. So I unprepared without knowing that I had cheeseburgers today. Didn't even know, but it is National Cheeseburger Day. So maybe we'll talk about some food. I don't know. And of course, as things come up in chat, if conversation happens in chat, I will certainly be willing to jump in on conversation and talk about stuff you want to talk about. And at the end of the stream, we'll probably get into some recommendations if you guys are y'all are playing any games or watching any TV or YouTube stuff. You can always chat about that. But yeah, I'm going to retweet my tweet and I'm going to go to the overhead and then we're going to get into things. Okay, going to retweet my stream live tweet. Of course, at the end of the stream, we'll also raid somebody, and I believe we're going to raid Rah because Rah is streaming again and doing some cool, weird stuff, and that is a good goddamn time. So I can't promise necessarily we're going to do that. We're going to see who's streaming at the end of the stream. Tony's here saying, "What's up, Pat? What's up, Tony? Welcome. Here just in time. We're just going to get back into the Gyan. The Gyan if we were French, but Gyan. The Gyan is here. This is a Knights of the Round Table ass mobile suit. This is like a suit of armor with electronics inside. Always a big fan. We did the head, the chest, the backpack, and the arms in a previous stream. The head, and now we did one whole leg here, and now we're moving on to the other leg. Where we're starting with the feet. And then we'll move on to the rest of the kit. Okay, so THQ Nordic. They announced a bunch of games. Maybe they were games that you were like, ooh, I'm looking forward to that. Maybe they're games you're like, why are they making a sequel to a game that came out in 2017 and didn't sell well? That's weird. Who knows? But maybe, like me, you were like, you know what? I'll play Jagged Alliance 3. Like maybe you're like, it's been a long time. Hey, Xenogears now hosting the stream. Thank you, Xenogears. Appreciate that. But yeah, maybe you're thinking, hey, honestly, Jagged Alliance 2 came out years and years ago, but was really good. I mean, if you're thinking that, you're also like me, because that's what I'm thinking. That like, maybe I will play this tactical RPG made, now, a modern, that will be an update of the previous things. All right, I gotta get tool assistant on here because I gotta get this into here, and it doesn't want to go in there. So we're gonna do a trick. This technique, when you have to get a poly cap here, a piece of this kind of rubberized plastic here, you have to get it in. You can do a thing where you can sometimes get this to work out for you. So instead of stabbing it through and trying to shove it through, instead I'm going to attempt to push it through by using tweezers because I am now putting pressure on the piece. So that will hopefully let me line up the piece and then I can push down and it will go in without a problem. There we go. Even if it did stab through the piece a bit, that won't have anything to do with it. I always want to be a person who plays tactical RPG, but I usually bounce off after a few hours. Aristophan, sometimes just genres aren't for you. Or maybe there'll be a game in that genre that is the game for you, and you'll be like, oh, I guess I do like these things. But you have to find the right one. Like, I would say I like Slay the Spire more than I like anything else in the genre, in that genre. But I did play and like Slay the Spire. I put this in upside down, didn't I? I did. I completely did. This is in upside down. No wonder why I thought it was easier than it should have been. I was like so psyched about showing off this trick that I literally put it in wrong. That's very funny to me. Okay, so now we're just going to do what we did there, but we'll do the opposite by pushing these in here. Then we'll push this in like this. Then find what we need to do. Whoops. Okay, so we'll open this up. So we have tension. Pull it through. And it did not work. We're going to try it again. I barely tried Valkyrie Chronicles, and that's the only one in tactical genre I've liked so far. True, Hades was the first roguelike that got hooks into me. Yeah, Hades is in it. excellent example of that style of game. I have liked others in the genre, but yes, but that is an exemplary, example. Um, that's the only. Okay, so the other one was like I think the last announcement, which was they're gonna make a SpongeBob game. SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake is like it's just so strange to me because I'm just like, I mean, I know that it's a property that continues and people still love it. Like I know it's a a beloved cartoon, and SpongeBob is going to be in that Nickelodeon fighting game. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. All of this like makes sense on paper. It's just the idea that they're like, yes, one of the properties that we're going to make. I mean, it is. Here's the thing: even if Nordic bought the name of THQ, it's still THQ. So they're still going to make their licensed games that people are just like, what? And then it sells incredibly well. Because like, what the fuck do I know? I just know that it seems weird that they're going to make a SpongeBob game in 2021, but maybe they know stuff I don't know, and that's going to be like they're going to sell like 15 million copies day one, and it's just going to be huge for them. Why won't this go in? Get in there. This is not the first time that this has happened where a polycap just like doesn't want to do what I want it to do, and I'm like very frustrated with it. I do need this to work though, because this is the foot of this kit, and so I do need this to line up properly. If anybody's got any games from THQ's presentation that they were like, hell yeah, like feel free to let me know. They did announce a bunch of stuff. It's just they announced a bunch of stuff that I'm like, I don't know what that is. This is the third in a series of a game that I don't know anything about. This is the second in the series. This is based on something, and I'm just like, I don't know what these are. This is like the acclaimed game from 2007, and I'm just like, okay, sure, but that happens. But yeah, um, also the SpongeBob thing was like, it seems like it might be a best of the series, like moments from the series. That seems to be what it is, and that actually could be really fun. So what do I know? Nothing. Okay, so this is still not. Well, there we go. We did it. Okay, we did it, and by we I mean me, and by did it I mean I don't know how that worked, but there we go. Now, when this is done, this can go into the part of the leg here, and then our feet will be good, and this kit can stand up at some point, which will be great. That is the thing we're looking for, is for this kit to be able to stand up on its own. It doesn't have to, but it'd be great if it did, if I didn't have to use a base for it. All right, so we're moving on here. We need 8, and there. So yeah, that was like the big announcement. Was like, okay, they're making. So they announced like 10, 12 games or something, but those are the ones that like stood out to me. I've never seen the HG Gyan before. Yes, this is the 2016. This is the Revive, because they made one years and years ago, and this one is slightly different than your traditional one. But yeah, it came out in 2016 as part of the HGUC revival run. It has been a fun little kit, pretty damn solid. Uh, I like the look of it a lot. I mean, I'm a sucker for these colors. These like light purple, dark blue as a companion colors is real good to me. And it's been a pretty simple build. We got all of this done on Thursday. So, what are we looking at here? Going on there. Oh, there it is. So yeah, been a pretty fun little build here. And we need B23. We need B23 for this. Then we need B211 and B24. So yeah, we're just going to build the other leg, then we'll build the waist, put them together, then we'll assemble the shield and the beam saber. Nice and easy. The beam sword, really. It's really definitely a sword more than a saber. And yeah, we'll move on from there. Okay, other things. As I said, National Cheeseburger Day. Had some cheeseburgers. Pretty psyched about that. That was that was nice. Not grilling right now. Definitely, I think done with the season of grilling. Maybe there'll be one more, backyard times, but I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. Tech Scout says, I'm currently just working on custom HG RX782 Revive right now. Nice. Might have to grab that one, customize it to have them side by side. And then Words Maybe says, howdy. Hi, Words Maybe. But yeah, Tech. The that RX782 Revive is pretty damn great. I've seen that one. The one I want is the RX782 Global. Is that the name of it? I gotta look up the name of it. I got it on my Amazon wish list, so I gotta look up the name of that because that one that's got a lot of good looking internal parts. So it looks like it's gonna be a good kit. Let me look up the name of that. Yes, that is the RX-72 Gundam Beyond Global. That is the one. The Beyond Global looks really nice. That is a kit that I would definitely like to put together. That is from 2020. Yeah, that came out last year. It's part of the anniversary. Uh, that is a good looking kit. I wouldn't mind putting that together at some point. And Tony used the mustache. What you take on your burger? Okay, so um, generally, if I'm just making a burger at home, if it's just me, I'm gonna make a burger. I'm gonna season it well. Make sure there's plenty of salt on there. And then I'm probably just going to put some ketchup on it. Just simple, easy, right? I'm not going to go too complicated. Now, if I'm ordering a burger at a restaurant, uh, and someone's preparing it for me, well, then I'm um, going to get lettuce. I'm going to get cheddar cheese. I'm going to get bacon, and I'm going to have mayonnaise on that burger. Now, if I'm making a burger, like I said, I'm probably not toasting the bun on the stovetop. So for me, if the bun has been toasted and it's coming out real hot, then the mayonnaise is gonna be perfect for that. If I'm making it myself, just doing it, I'm gonna put a little ketchup on there because I'm probably not really, really doing a great job of toasting that bun. So that is just my particular method. Tech says I have like 8 kits in my backlog and I'm already thinking about new kits. Yeah, only 8 Glassberg. Right now, my backlog is the next I have 4, which is pretty good. It's pretty low because I went through a run there where I was building just a lot and not buying more. The most I've had in my backlog. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got like 9 here plus 6 or so in order. Oh, I mean, when you add in order, I have. Let me look. I think I have 4 in order. Yes, I've got the Millennium Puzzle, the Ifrit Custom, the Bandai one, which is a re-release, and then the Barbatos and the Live Lance Heaven as part of that new line of weird versions. Those are the other ones so I got 4 things coming via pre-order, and I am excited about getting some of that stuff coming in. All right, so we got this here. I'm going to just double check, make sure that looks right. That does look right. That looks right. Okay, great. We can always fix stuff. We can always work on it. Oh, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Tex says, I just got back to the U.S. after being in South Korea for a year, and since it's easier to get kits there, I've never had a backlog before. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, if you always got stuff, you're always working on stuff. My backlog really got to. So here's the thing, right? Obviously, I stream. If you don't know this, you don't know this. I stream here, model kit building. I do about 2 hours a stream, really an hour and 40 minutes probably when you add in all the conversation without me actually building. But whatever. Let's say 6 hours a week I build model kits or Lego sets because I stream 3 times a week for that. So I need to always have kits. When I first started doing this and I went from streaming once a week to twice a week, I I had to go and buy a kit like the day of a stream, or because I had was streaming back to back days and finished the last kit that I had something coming in the mail and it didn't arrive, so I had to run out and go to a hobby shop that I knew of that had kits and buy a kit because I was like, oh, I don't have anything to build tonight. I really need to get something. And luckily, I have never run into that issue since. That is the only time that that's happened. But I constantly am like, always like, okay, Well, I've only got two things and I'm building one of them, so I better like put in an order and get something. Like I'm now very conscious of that, uh, of like making sure I don't run out of stuff to build. Now, when it's just for pleasure, just for me, I would run out of stuff and just be like, okay, I'm good for a while. I'll build some more stuff soon. Or I'd buy like three things at once and just build at my own pace. But now that this is like a thing I do all the time, I gotta be a little more aware of like, okay, I've got like right now I've got a master grade, so that's like 2.5 streams, and I've got three high grades, and one of them is a pretty detailed high grade, but one of them's not a detailed high grade. It's like a high grade from 2001. That's one stream, and the other ones are like 1.5 streams. And so like I've plotted out like until I need to buy something else how much stuff I have, which is just the thing that I have to do because otherwise I will run out of things and I have to like find something. I'll have to like go to Target or something and get a Lego set, just like to make sure I have something. And if I have to do that, obviously I will, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying to avoid that. Respectable burger orders. I've always done salsa on a burger and never went back. Okay. So mainly do burgers at home. Tech says sounds like an efficient system. I try to be. So also, I have some pre-orders coming in, right? Um, Now, I wasn't necessarily as soon as the Millennium Puzzle comes in, when I have available time, I'm going to build that. One, because I've been looking forward to it. And two, I know I'll get some views because it's a weird thing because I'm going to be assembling the components to it, but the actual way, like like the different puzzle pieces, but the actual way to solve the puzzle isn't included in the instructions. So I know as soon as I start building that, I will have people who are interested in that. Because that when I was like, hey, this exists on my Twitter, it did numbers. Because people were like, holy fucking shit, this is very cool. So I know it's going to be good. Well, that was supposed to arrive in August, but Bandai is backed up. So it has not arrived in August. So I wasn't like counting on that, but I was planning on building it sometime last month or the beginning of this month. And since I haven't been able to do that, it's like, okay, well, it'll arrive at some point. Now, the other kits, Efret is scheduled for October. I'm expecting that to be in October because it's a premium Bandai kit. It is a re-release of a previous kit. I'm 99% sure. It'll most likely arrive in October. The new kits, the Barbatos, as you say, the four-legged Barbatos, and the Live Lance Heaven, which is like the inverted colors and with some other changes, like the Angel version of the Gundam Death Scythe Hell. Those are new kits. And so it's possible that they won't be available. I won't receive them in October or November. Or since I pre-ordered them from USA Gundam Store, there's a chance that USA Gundam Store just like won't get enough or won't get them that fast because shipping has been like everything. Everything is a nightmare, including shipping and getting things places. So maybe I won't get those. So like I can't guarantee, oh, I'm going to be able to build those the month that they like towards the end of the month they get released. Um, so that's why I like keep an eye on Amazon and other sites and look for deals and all that because I don't want to run out of stuff. I don't want to say, hey, folks, I can't stream tonight because I ran out of things to build. I'm looking to avoid that. And as I said, that has never come up, but I don't want it to ever. I don't want that to ever be an issue because that would just be weird. My current mindset is that I'm going to take a break from buying kits to save up for the perfect grade Exia Lightning. The Lightning model. Yeah, because that thing is beautiful. Totally. I've worked on a couple perfect grades. It has been a while. And I certainly enjoy those. But yeah, I mean, like right now, I'm buying a lot of like weird old high grades. Like I said, I bought a high grade from 2001 that just happened to like. The thing with old stock is that um, sometimes people are just cleaning their warehouses or their stores or whatever, and they just like realize they have a number of old kits, and suddenly they just like show up on Amazon. And this was like 20 something dollars instead of like 40 something dollars. So it was like, well, I'm getting that because that's going to be great. And that's how I look at like a lot of like kits these days. It's just like, oh, I can pick that up now, and it's only going to go up in price in the future. So let me just get that while I can. Um, let's see here. Okay, so this has got to go like here. Okay. I already did this once, and I'm like, what? How can I not remember how this worked? I already did it, but I am like questioning. Okay, so I think it was like that. I feel you. I got the HG Burning Gundam. I haven't started. Maybe myself get another one till I finish that one at least. Some of the older high grades are just interesting. I can definitely understand that. Yeah. The burning. Yeah, there's a bunch of different burnings. But the high grade is, or sorry, the burning I think looks the burning from Build looks really good from Build Fighters or Build Divers. I know Build Fighters. I can't remember. What am I even saying? But it does look really good. Okay, so we got this part of the leg done here. We're going to keep, obviously, putting these components together. We'll finish the leg, and then we'll panel line the whole thing, because we got to panel line as we go. And then, of course, we got to build the waist of this kit and put it all together. I wanted to get the build burning, but I had to settle for the Kamiki burning from Build Fighter. Yes. Yeah, I know that at least one of them, if not all of them, are expensive, because also all high grades are expensive now. If you want to build, even the entry grade RX 782, the supposedly $10 cheap option, is right now like 15 on Amazon, and that's still a good deal because the RX 782 entry grade is incredibly solid and like totally worth the money. Um, but like, yeah, even that is just pricey, and that's unfortunately not going to go away. That is going to be just the reality for a while now. Eventually, things will hopefully settle down as far as prices go, but my guess is it's going to be a bit before that happens, before we start having a drop in prices. And it happens, you know. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, okay. Add an email that is fine for me to see. Deal with that later. That is not something I have to pause. Yeah, I mean, Amazon just hikes up the price totally. Yeah. I mean, one of the reasons why I get stuff on Amazon, or because I have my wish list, and it is convenient to have my wish list on Amazon so that people can see what I'm looking for, and I can also keep track of things because keeps track of purchases and all that. So it is convenient. I do have a few sites that I buy stuff off, and if I'm buying in bulk, then it makes sense for that. Or if I'm buying a bunch of kits at once, or if it's a rarer thing. Unfortunately, don't really have a lot of good stores around here. There's one hobby shop that occasionally has Gundam in my town that I'm currently staying in, but they don't keep it stocked like consist. They are definitely not consistent about keeping inventory, and so that is frustrating. And there's a comic shop that used to sell stuff and doesn't anymore. Which I inquired about because they still listed on their website that they had Gundam. And so then I was like, do you? And they were like, oh, no, we don't. Sorry. We haven't updated our website in several years. And it's like, oh, I mean, okay, that's your choice. All right. Yeah, put that top coat on. Yeah, don't do that top coat near your computer if you can avoid it. Or your phone, whatever you're doing. Uh, But yeah, I mean, Amazon is expensive, but that's also because the people are putting stuff up at a high price, as people are looking for. That is also we talked about this before, folks. Uh, the cost of doing business is high, but also 2020 was a good year for people being like, all right, I'm going to build a model kit, I think. Or I used to build model kits and I got all this time and I'm already working from home. I'll just set up the coffee on the coffee table and while I'm watching stuff and like, hey, I'm working just as much as I used to, but I don't have a commute anymore. So like, I got some free time. What if I got back into Gundam? Or what if I got into Gunpla or Plamo in general? Now's the time. And it's been really fun. It's very fun to see like friends of mine, like, getting messages of like, so tell me again what I should start with. Or like, like, hey, so if I was going to build a Gundam, what would I get? Or like, what's a weird thing for me to build? This just questions like that. It's really nice to see. Or like, okay, so these snippers are like $100. Do I need those? Or and just like just answering those questions has been really fun. And sometimes people get real technical in a way that I'm like, somebody asked me about like painting and weathering, and I was like, I have never done that. I cannot guide you through weathering. I can like tell you about some resources, but I can't like show you. It's like I can't demonstrate that because I'm not. That's not my style. That's not my thing. I am almost exclusively here for assembly, panel lining, taking a decent looking photo, admiring the work that I do, talking about all kinds of stuff while I do it. Like that is what I'm here for. Because I build on stream, I don't build outside of this. I occasionally do goofy Lego builds because I have a big box of Legos. So sometimes I'll just like build a thing while I'm sitting around. Um, and that's kind of like just like while I'm watching something, I'll just like play around and make some silly things with Lego. But I don't build outside of the streams because I build model kits a lot here, um, which is like fine. I'm happy to do that. I think I got into Gunpla around March this year. I started with the entry grade ARC 72. Hell yeah! And the next grade, then the real grade Asteroid Red Frame. That is a jump. Hey, Dirty, going from the entry grade to a real grade. Uh, some real grades are fantastic, and some real grades are not. So I hope you had fun with it. But I mean, you're still doing it, so I guess you did. But yeah, sometimes those real grades are like, here's an interesting mechanic that we shoved into this 1/44 scale kit, and sometimes it's just like, this doesn't work, and we shouldn't have sold it. Sorry. Then for our third kit, you slap myself in the face with the Wing Zero Endless Waltz Verka. Oh yeah. Ah, the Wing Zero. Yeah, man. Uh, Wings are a tough. Even a high grade wing for some reason is going to be like just a monster. Like those kits are just like, what it is? Legitimately, what it is? Any kit that has a transformation is going to be a problem because they want either the transformation doesn't look good or it's a pain in the ass. Like the Epion. The Epion is not a good transformation. It doesn't look good, but the kit itself looks great. Or most recently, I just did the H2 Magnum. The H2 Magnum, if I could get it to transform, would look great. It did not. The Zero does not, so the Zero and the regular wing and the Wing Zero do the endless waltz. If it's an actual endless waltz with all the feathers, that doesn't transform because I don't think they've ever made a kit that has the capsule because that's what actually the transformation is. All the wings are like cover it like a cocoon or a capsule, and I don't think they've ever actually made that in a kit. But wing kits in general have transformations. Now the Kyrios Master Grade has a pretty great transformation that is not too hard to do and looks good. And that's very rare that you're going to find that. That you're going to find both those things. Like that it like, oh, like it checks all the boxes. That's just very hard. All right, so working on the skirt here. We'll get that started. Let's talk about some manga. I've been reading some manga as always. Sometimes I read like I'm in like oh, this is going to go on my pull list, and I'm going to buy the I'm going to like get the novels on Bookwalker, and I'm going to check these out. Sometimes it's like, hey, there's a couple free chapters available somewhere, or somebody did a scanlation of this because it hasn't been picked up by anybody, so I'll read some of the scanlations, or uh, or the Viz app has the first chapter or the first two chapters for free, so I'll read that. Um, but sometimes I read a bunch of it. Like I said, or sometimes I'll just read a little bit. It's just a thing I've been doing a lot lately, and it's another thing we can talk about on stream. So I'm going to put the list of things that I have been reading since our last stream, and we put that in the chat, and you can follow along. Slave of the Black Knight is an action fantasy action series about a dude that, for reasons we haven't been clear on, his life drastically changes. And I can only assume it was rumors of his skill. But basically, hey, there's a dude, our main character. He used to live outside of a village, and he's real strong. He then moved into the village, did some stuff, got accused of a crime. Was like, I didn't do it, but I'll do my time, I guess. I mean, I'm innocent. But so he ends up becoming a ward, but actually almost treated like pretty much treated like a slave of this order of chivalrous knights, the chivalric order of knights. And of course, it's led by an abusive person that is making these people do all this work to steal credit from them. And so he never gets the credit, even though he's the one that's killing all these monsters and doing all the work, because he's got incredible abilities, because he was trained really well, and then he also constantly worked hard. And he doesn't complain about it. He even talks to he's like, oh, this was nice. I slept 2 nights in a row. Like that was his big, like, I'm psyched about this. I got to sleep a little bit. Anyway, a guild master shows up from another country and is just like, hey, I'm buying this guy out. I'm paying. You've been saying he's worked all this time, but for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to pay anything back because you've been taking everything. I'm paying this off. I've got permission from your king. He works for me now. And so our dude is now an adventurer. And guess what? He's really good at being an adventurer for like subjugation quests, because he's incredibly skilled. Like, he is unbelievably skilled. And it's just him just like, I would say my big complaint about the series is there's not enough of him like learning how to be a person. Like, he doesn't get a chance, like enough of a chance to figure out how to like live a life that he's proud of and like re-enter society. Like, there's not enough of that. But there is a lot of him completely blowing away people's expectations and being awesome. And so it's pretty great. And of course, there's some corruption, and there's like beautiful ladies, and there's plot. So yeah, hi Alexander, welcome. So I would say it's pretty dang solid. Called is it Slave of the Black Knight? I've seen it, or Slave of the Black Knights. I've also seen it. The name of. So I think people haven't really decided yet. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I mentioned this was the one on Thursday. I mentioned I'm probably going to talk about this. I want to read it because it's real weird. And the title is long, so here we go. Here's where I take a deep breath before I get into the name of an manga. The boy who had been continuously burned by the flames of hell revived. He becomes the strongest flame user. So the title gives a little bit of it away. And this is kind of a weird series, but basically there's this village and there's a gate to hell. And there's a ceremony where someone gives up their life and they are burned by the flames of hell until their life is extinguished. And then someone else has to come in to go into the gate of hell and take over. And there's this dude, he's always been treated poorly by the people in the village. He's on the outskirts of it. He's been trained by his master to be a swordsman. And he's just a good kid. It's decided one of the reasons why he was brought to this village was to be the next sacrifice. Uh, and he's like, okay, I mean, all right. So he goes in there, and he basically gets burned alive. And then he's like, huh, my life force hasn't been extinguished. Weird. Okay. Oh, I'm absorbing these flames. Weird. And he's just there until the flames are gone. And then he's like, I guess I should leave. So he like opens the gate. And it's been a very long time. In fact, the village that he was there is gone. Completely gone. It's been gone for a long time. He survived. He somehow beat the fires of hell. So he doesn't have to uh doesn't really have anything to do. So he's just like, all right, I guess I'm gonna like go on adventures, um, and like see what's up. Um, and of course, also he now controls the flames of hell, so he can command them. So he has like incredible power. It's interesting. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if I'm gonna keep reading it, but I liked the premise of it. I thought the premise was like pretty solid. So I said, okay, well, So yeah, that's the boy who had been continuously burned by hell's fires of hell revived. He becomes the strongest flame user. It was pretty okay. One that I thought was actually like very generic but still good is X strongest swordsman longs for magic in different world. I think I put long for instead of longs for because he longs for magic. So I think I wrote the wrong. I slightly wrote the wrong title. It's like X strongest swordsman longs for magic in different world. So basically, stop me if you heard this before. Don't stop me. On his deathbed, the main character is just like, damn, I wish I could have learned magic. Like, I didn't have the aptitude for magic. Like, I really wish I could have. Like, I have like an idea for it, but I didn't study it for that long. Like, I studied the sword, and turns out like late in life, I was like, I could have used magic, and I didn't. I didn't get as far as I wanted with magic. Really wish I had. Damn. And then he dies. And then he wakes up and he's in the body, and he like basically he's been reincarnated. The body he's been in, he like has the memories, and he's like, oh hell yeah, now I can like learn magic, and I can like, oh, I'm the son of a baron or a local lord, but that's okay. I'll learn magic, and that's cool. He can't use magic. He just can't. He doesn't know why, but he can't use magic. Like, he has the concepts of it. So he's like, well, I got reborn. Damn. I don't know why I can't use magic. But on the plus side, I can use swords really well. I'm real good at swords. Anyway, because he can't like take over the family, he ends up going and becoming an adventurer because he's still really good with the sword. And also a girl that he's made friends with that like lives kind of nearby that has been like hanging out in the forest. She turns out to be the daughter of the demon lord, the current demon lord. So he's like, yeah, come along with me. I don't care that you're a demon. You're nice. So he's just like, all right, and it's fine. It like I said, it's generic, but I like it. I think it's not terrible or by any means. It is a perfectly okay manga called X Strongest Swordsman Longs for Magic in Different World. Um, and now this is a new one. I believe there's only literally one chapter of this out right now. So I saw it in a preview, read the chapter that I believe has been officially translated, and that is called The World's Fastest Level Up. Is that all right? So all I've left to do now, right now, is put together the weapon and the shield. But other than that, we are done with this kit. So I just gotta find this last page. We are body complete on this kit. Now I just need to build the sword and shield. So we'll build the sword first because it's just 3 components. So we'll just put it together here. And then, of course, you got to panel line it and then combined it. But anyway, the world's fastest level up is it is your standard kind of, at this days modern like Japan, but now there's dungeons, and so people want to be adventurers and they get skills and they got to do their thing, right? Well, this dude, he's a competent guy in his group, but everything's about special skills. People care about special skills, and his special skill is dungeon teleport. He can teleport like a couple feet forward or back in a dungeon that he's currently in. So it's not that exciting. There's nothing like dramatic about it. There's nothing like super cool about it. He's just like a dude that can teleport a little bit. So people were like, "Nah, that's not that cool, man. That actually your skill sucks." Which he hates hearing, but he works hard. He's leveling up slower because he's not in a group. He also started later than a lot of people did, and so he's like, "Well, the nice thing is, finally, I've now hit my special skill is now evolved to level 10, and then it changes into something else, and it becomes a very overpowered thing because, as you can imagine, he is now an overpowered main character." Because his new thing is he can teleport to any dungeon he's been to before, um, which is specific because in this world there is a slowdown. There is like a lag that people have where once you go through a dungeon, you can't return to that dungeon for a certain amount of hours. And he can now. He can now go to any dungeon he wants as many times as he wants, so he can now grind levels. He still has to be strong, which he is. He's still strong enough to do it, but he now has the ability to. His cheat is, I mean, to me that this is the thing I thought was kind of fun about it. His cheat is that he has the opportunity to work harder than other people. Like he still has to do the work, and also his flaw is that his skill wasn't that good. It's not like devastating. It's just that like people were like, yeah, that's not that great, and it wasn't, and now it is. And then of course, does he meet a girl and help her out? Of course he does. Is that gonna like change things for him? I'm sure it will. Right now we haven't figured that part out yet because it's very early. Because it's like I said, one chapter of it. But I like the premise a lot. I I'm trying to read more of these stories that take place like in Japan, but with whatever, because that's very popular in South Korean stories, the Hunters Guild stuff, the like portals open and now we have to do this thing, like this very manhwa story. Um, Basically, the isekai um, reincarnation, different world genre. Uh, Japan is go to a different world, and now it's happened so long that it's be aware of what isekai is, and sometimes it's video. And also the popular category of, um, I used to play this video game, and now it's real, and but I have my game knowledge. Like, that's a very popular trope in anime and isekai and that style. South Korean stuff right now is a lot of it is. Um, uh, Dungeons are now on Earth. I'm a hunter. I'm part of a guild. I hunt stuff, and then of course, I was the weakest, but now I'm playing it in a way that makes me the strongest. Like that is a very common trope right now in that. And then Chinese books in the reincarnation genre is often um, I was a sword god, or I was the demon god, which is a clan, not an actual demon, or I was this, or I was that, or I was a cultivator, and I died, and now I've been reincarnated in a weak person. And now I have to use all the tricks that I've knowledge and tricks that I've gained over my lifetime of being this incredible person to now make this guy who wasn't that strong incredibly strong, so I can now inherit his revenge or whatever. Uh, and that is a lot of the Chinese reincarnation stuff is that. Now, are there exceptions to that? Of course, there's a wide variety of different things out there. Like things are, oh, there's always going to be. like different little stories. It's just that is like a lot of what's going on right now in these spaces are that. Um, and yeah, let's see. Like I mean, there's one manhwa that is very different that I'm reading, which the the ultimate something or other. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it is definitely like it is definitely a South Korean book, but it is heavily influenced by Japanese isekai because it is just like a dude that got reincarnated and he's enjoys his new life and he's trying to stay like low key, but uh circumstances are continuing to happen, and then he has like family and he didn't have family before and now he has family, which is very like I'm reincarnated. I'm not going to do anything. Uh, and I'm not going to get involved in things. I'm going to live a quiet life or a slow life. Like there's a lot of like, I'm going to live a slow life in this world. And it's just like that. And that's like, oh, no, you're not because you're incredibly strong. And so you're going to get involved, or you have a strong sense of justice. So, of course, you'll get involved in this. Uh, so it's kind of interesting to see that from a manhwa, for a Korean perspective. Uh, and I'm constantly looking for cool stuff in the Chinese uh, comic book stories because I was just like, hmm, I want this to be better, but right now it is not like it's not that I want this to be better. I want to find one of these that I like, and I have been unable to do that at this point. And so I would like to find something from a Chinese story that I really like. Um, Dirty just gave me a bunch of suggestions, including um, saving 80,000 gold coins in the different world for my old age, another world leisure journey, raising children while being an adventurer. I reincarnated as a white pig noble's daughter from a shoujo manga, also a fantasy lazy life. All right, well I will add those to my manga list, my to check out list. And no promises, of course, but if there's something there that sticks out to me, uh, uh, those are female projects. Yeah, and I don't mind those. Also, a lazy fantasy lazy life. That sounds fun too. I certainly read those. I don't know why Google Docs doesn't want me to right click, like right click paste. Like just let me right click paste. Don't make me use the keyboard. I'm using my mouse right now. That is the thing. That is just an infuriating thing. Anyway, that's the manga I've been reading. We'll talk about anime after the pause for the cause because we always do a pause for the cause where we talk about stuff. I promote myself and all that. But yeah, um, I'm intrigued with more World's Fastest Level Up. I think that's like an interesting idea. I would like to see more of that. Um, then let's see, what other ones will I can always do this. I can just tell you the things I might be checking out, or I actually am reading and I didn't talk about yet. Uh, Strongest Gatekeeper. Ooh, I'm interested in this one. That's a fun one. Um, Basically, just like this dude is part of a high-ranking party, and they're like, "We're all about attack, but you're not. So get out of here." And he's like, "I mean, okay. Do you not understand?" Yeah, and eventually people are like, "Yeah, you can attack because he's pulling. He's a tank." Anyway, he ends up like not being an adventurer, and he gets a job being working as a gatekeeper of a city, and then he of course ends up I believe he ends up working with like weirdo ladies and informs his working his like job harem basically. I have not, as I said, have not checked that out, but I am planning to check that out. Because I think that might be a fun one. Strongest Dull Prince Secret Battle Plan for the Throne. That's just a sleeping lion story. No, I believe no isekai of that. It is not a different world or reincarnation. That is just a dude who is really strong but doesn't want to be the crown prince. But then he's like, well, my brother has to become the crown prince, my twin brother, so I'm going to help him. And then After leaving the A rank party, I aim for the deep part of the labyrinth with my former students, which is another one of those like pretty typical like uh, heartwarming meals with Mother Fenrir. I have heard of that one. Yes, I have heard of that. That I have heard good things about that particular story. All right, our kit is done. We'll take a photo of this, then we'll take a pause for the cause, and then we'll start working on our next kit. But let me get a photo out here. Um, but the A ranker one, uh, that's another one of those like people didn't understand that the red mage. They're like they don't understand what a red mage is. They don't understand he's like buffing them and debuffing, and he was like pulling and kiting. He also like was the one that knows all the information about it, like knows when the where the food is, where the it's restocking, the layout of labyrinth. He's like done all this stuff because he was like, well, yeah. I mean, everybody tells me, people always tell me that being a red mage, like I got to work harder. And then he apparently at some point taught some newbie adventurers. And so they run into him and they're like, hey, it would be great if you worked with us. Uh, which is just like, and guess what? Turns out it is real great. But it's the pretty typical, like, dude was in a great party and they don't realize one of the reasons why they're so good is because he was backing them up. Uh, which I like. I like those kind of stories. They're kind of like, yeah, if you do work really hard, people don't appreciate you. It's nice when you can find people that appreciate it. Like he's like, oh, they're like, let's farm a party and let's have you be the leader. And he's like, what? Okay, I don't know. It's cute. Oh boy, now we've got this kit. I'm gonna have to then assemble all this. I'm gonna show you to you right here because we're gonna take a pause for the cause. And when we return from that, we're gonna get started. Of course, I gotta put in the new colors for this, but we've got the Strike Noir kit to put together here, and I'm very excited to put this together. This is a 2007 kit. As I said, there's fucking unbelievable. Somehow there are stickers. Not stickers. There are screws. Of course, there's stickers. There's not many stickers, which is nice, but there are screws. Here are my shelving things. I don't know. I think I've shown this on stream. I use these to organize. You can see the overhead there like that. I put a little tape and a marker there. So I know, but this is so I'm not building out of a box. There are better ways to do this, but considering that these can then break down really easy for storage in between streams, it makes my life a lot easier to use these rather than. I gotta move my mic a little bit. Hold on, I'll be right back here. I'll shout a little bit. Using these instead of like building out of the box is a lot. It just makes my life a lot easier. And sometimes I only need like a couple of them for like that high grade. I used 4 of them, but make my life a lot easier. So B, D, D, E, D, E, F, G, H, and do all that there. But yeah, this is just a real easy way to organize all my things, so I'm not just like digging through a box, and instead I'm just like, okay, I need B, and I'm like, okay, I know where A and B are on this one, and they weren't expensive. Like I said, they compressed down, and then also these were very handy when I was going to PAX. If you see me at PAX when I was tabling for League of Heels, I would take these just like a couple of them with me, and it was nice because I could put like stuff on them, but also build it up so it would come to like above me, and then I could have like my iPad behind it and have a little bit of like separation between me and especially with counting money and all that. All right, so I'm just gonna put all these things in here. That's C and D. And as I build these kits, it makes things easier to find things, but at first it's very simple to just like look and be like, okay, I need H. Oh, I know H is right there before I know what H looks like. E and F. And I, when was this piece made? Yeah, 2007. I and J, K, and Q. And there's also some wire. I don't know when I'm going to use that, but. And of course, many polycaps. Many polycaps. No date. Oh, no, these. So this will give you a good indication. These polycaps, this polycaps, which are used for a wide variety of master grades. This is a 2003 polycap. So this is a 2007 kit with polycaps for 2003. So we might not use all of these, but like, this was just there. Like, this is like polycaps you're going to use for a lot of stuff. Last week I used the patented several piles of runners in the plastic so they don't scratch method. Yes. So some people will also do that. They'll do separation. Some people do like the sheet things. There's some trays you can get. Some people do just, like I said, building right out of the box, or spread out all the table, like half on one side, half on the other, because they have a big space. This is, to me, this is the easiest thing. Also, because that way, like I said, I don't have to like scrub through, but also because I am presenting. I'm not just building on my own. When I first got down here to South Carolina, I was building out of the box, but I am not doing that right now. Okay, so let's see. Colors. So our main kit is, we've got gray, we've got black, and we've got red and yellow. Obviously, red, we're going to use brown, not obviously. Yellow, we're going to use black. And then this gray, I believe we'll also use black on. But we're going to look at this right now. I'm just going to go underneath it here and kind of give like a little, let's see, yeah, we'll just do this like right here. I'm going to rate that. See how that looks. Yeah, it's going to look good. So we're going to primarily use black for the gray, and we will use brown for the red and black for the gold, because there's not any white in this kit, so we're not going to use. There's other colors that, like, when it's pink, I often will use a gray marker for especially like a light pink that's almost white. But since this is pretty gray, we'll just use that, and then just put gray, and we'll use black on that, and then black on the yellow, and then red. We'll use brown. Yellow, look, is this yellow? Is this gold? It's gold. We're going to say yellow. It's fine. It's yellow gold. That's fine. And of course, we got our beams. Does this kit have 2 guns? Yes, it does. It does have 2 handguns. So that's great. Will there be parts of this kit we don't use because it's the Strike Noir? Possibly. I can't remember. But anyway, we are overdue for our pause for the cause. If you're new to the stream, I'm going to take a couple minutes. I'm going to talk to you about ways you can support the channel. If you're not interested in supporting the channel, that's cool. If you don't want to watch the videos that I'm going to be linking to, that's cool. But I hope you can hang out for a couple minutes while I do my quote-unquote ad reads, and then we'll get back to building. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the emote in the chat. If you're currently a subscriber, you can throw those emotes right back at me. Subscribing is an easy way to support what I do here. Dirty's already throwing them in there. I appreciate that very much. Becoming a subscriber through Cash Money, it's September, so you can save money. Converting a gift sub because you've been gifted one using your Prime Gaming token, that would be great. If you're converting a gift sub, you can get the discount as well because it is, as I said, September. If you want to gift somebody a sub, you can save money. Gifts are always appreciated. We got Sin and Aristophan gifting this month, which rules. Appreciate that very, very much. You can join the gift sub leaderboard with just 1 gift sub, which is on the top of there. Bits and coins always appreciated. We got Bald Ridge and Harold throwing, aka H-Bomb, throwing in some bits. Always appreciated as well. Telling a friend, gifting a sub, that, those things are great. If you can't afford to do that, or you just don't want to, I understand. Like I said, I'm going to talk ways you can support the channel. All these are optional. Another option, another way, if subscribing isn't your thing, you can join my Patreon, patreon.com/PatBear. $1, $3, $5, $10 tiers. So cheaper than Twitch, more expensive than Twitch. You get different rewards for different tiers. Take a look. If you've heard me talk about my Patreon and you never clicked the link, maybe tonight's the night you go and look at that in another tab. Or you save it and check it out later. Put in your bookmarks. I have a YouTube channel. Obviously, subscribing to YouTube channels are free. but there's also a membership. The benefit of that membership is I do a Wednesday, a video series every Wednesday. But if you're a member, you get that video on Tuesday. You get it one day early. And next week's one, it's going to be pretty good. It is a silly moment that I was like, oh, I'm going to clip that. I'll say it later. But also, if you ever see something you like on the stream, you want to hit that clip it button, clip that video. That'd be great because it would help me out. That way, I don't have to go. Now, did I do anything I liked in this last stream that I think will be a good clip? And sometimes I have to remember. So if you see something, click it. Click something. If you see something, click something. That's not anything. Direct donations to get back into it. Direct donations is another way to support what I do. Everything I make through direct donations, through Patreon, through Twitch, through YouTube, goes into buying model kits and equipment. The money doesn't like go in my pocket. I don't buy T-shirts with it or whatever. If you're supporting me here on Patreon, on Twitch, direct donations, bits and coins, YouTube stuff, all that goes into buying model kits. Because like I said, I just bought a model kit, an RGM 79 GM from 2001. I just bought that kit because I was like, that'll be fun to build. That's a very old kit that I don't remember building back in the day. That's along with other kits that I've got in my backlog that I would love to build. And speaking of my backlog, you could make me take even longer to build those things by buying something off my Amazon wish list. If you buy something on the wish list, it'll jump the queue. I'll be like, hey, sorry, what do I got over there? The Ale Strike. Sorry, Ale Strike. I'm not building you right now. I gotta build something bought off my Amazon wish list. I'll also shoot a little video about how you bought that thing, which always appreciate. And say like, hey, this person bought this, or an anonymous person if you don't want to have your name on a message. I've got Lego sets, inexpensive Lego sets, more expensive Lego sets, cool Lego cars, a bunch of different stuff, some inexpensive high grades, some very expensive high grades, stuff that has free shipping, stuff that does not have free shipping, all kinds of different things. I just added into the wish list the Exia Repair 2 because I haven't built that. I've built Exias before, but not the Repair 2. I just put that on the list, and I just also put in the well, I got the Exia from that. Then also the amazing Exia from Build Fighters. I have 2 Exias in there. Just like here's a couple kits that I would like to build on stream. If you want to buy them, you can. And then there's also a little bit of equipment in there because I always like that put that in as well. But yeah, if you buy something there, like I said, make a video, share it there. We'll get back to building in just a minute or two. Just want to run through my my ads, quote unquote, which I do at every stream. Having an alternative to Amazon is good. People get excited about that. My alternative to Amazon is you could go to USA Gundam Store and buy a gift card and then send me that code. That's the best option. That's the best alternative I can come up with is you go to USA Gundam Store, you buy a gift card, they send a code to you in your email. They don't send you a physical card. They just send you a code. Then you could DM me on Twitter. You could private message me or whisper me here on Twitch. You can send me a message on my Discord and send me that code, which will be great. And then I will, hey, thank you for the follow, Mansoor 14 Gaming. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, that's another way to help me out. A free way to help me, a way that costs 0 money, is to join my Discord. I have a Discord about model kits, and this stream, people post plugs of stuff they're doing. People post photos of stuff they're working on. It's been great to see Slowbird has been in the Discord posting all these fun photos, and Lastbrook has been posting stuff. Got a bunch of good stuff coming through. So if you're building something, you're working on something, you can always share those photos. I love seeing it. If you're putting IKEA shelves together, like, let me know. Let me know what you're up to. That's my Discord. A couple video links for you to check out. The latest Pat Bear's Anime Club that I put up this past Monday is me talking about my time working at an import store. If you want to hear about the year 2001 and what it was like to work in a mall where I sold fan subs and other stuff, that's a story. It's just story time. But I wanted to get that down because I thought it was fun to be able to talk about it. And then there's Best of Build with Baer. That was the thing I was talking about earlier. My Best of series. This is this week was a clip from last year talking about trash. It's just a little clip. Um, and that's that. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna drink a little water, and then we're gonna get ready to talk about some anime. And I'm gonna finally get started with the Strike Noir. It is Strike Noir time. So let me cue this up, drink a little water, and then we'll get into it. Noir. Ah, all right. Let's get into it. We're starting with the body. Classic. Um, let's see. So body unit. This is 2007, so there's not going to be any. Just about. There's going to be some, but not a lot of English in here. Certainly there'll be like the body unit, but there's not going to be like press firmly. We will have our first screw because there are 4 screws in this kit. Look at these things. Luckily they're all the same screw, but there's still 4 screws. That's bizarre. So put those up here. And then, of course, I have my little screwdriver, which I keep in my toolkit for just such an emergency. That's not an emergency, but just kind of this situation where I have stickers. But anyway, let's start building the chest of this kit. The body here, B16 and then F12. And now I'm going to talk to you about some anime. So this was the last episode of Tsushima, which is a minute and a half each episode, with the premise of which is that there was a cat named Tsushima who, at one period, like kind of lives with a guy, but for the most part was always on his own. But then a nice old lady who has a bunch of cats found him and was like, "Come with me." And so it was him like becoming adjusted to living with someone where he's still kind of like a wild outdoor cat, but also is excited about like being pet and being brushed and being looked after. Anyway, in the last episode, he had to go to the vet and he hated it, did not want to go to the vet. So he was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm out of here. I'm gone. So he left. And the owner has been looking for him for a real long time. And then the owner basically is just like the owner imagines herself growing old and older and still waiting and then eventually passing away. But that was a dream because he's only been gone for a couple days. And look out, Tsushima is like, you know what? Honestly, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have run away. I actually like it here. And he says that while giving her a dead mouse as a present, which of course she does not like. Uh, and that's it. That's the series. It's cute little episodes. There are the 12 episodes that aired in Japanese television that are on the YouTube. You can watch you hit the CC button to watch English subtitles. And there's also web animations that are out there too. You can just Google that stuff because both those things are available. All right, so we're gonna put it like that. Great. That's gonna go in to it shows you there. All right, so now we're gonna keep working on the chest. So yeah, so that's that. It's a fun little series. I think the web animations are fine. They're not. Some of the jokes aren't great, but overall, it's a good show that I'm happy that I checked out, and I was glad that Asai Ace put that up on YouTube since nobody was gonna pick that series up. I don't think. But legally put it up, which is nice. It's nice when you can just like legally watch a thing and you don't have to like worry about it. So we need F6. Build that here. Working on a chest here. Okay, so let's get into it. It's the last episode of season 2 of My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom, aka My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom X, because they did X instead of 2, which I don't know what they're going to do for it. If they do a 3rd season, I don't know what they're going to call it. But anyway, they called it X. Basically, this is the fallout of what happened towards the end of this season, which was early in the season, Katarina got kidnapped as part of a plot to get certain princes to basically say they're not going for the throne because there is a perceived secession war between some of the 4 princes in the kingdom. So there's a whole plot, and that Katarina got kidnapped, but then it was fine, and there were some other shenanigans, and then Keith got kidnapped. That's right. There's two kidnappings this season, and it looked like he was going to die because it got fucking real all of a sudden. Anyway, Katarina helped save Keith, and in the meantime, the black magic that was trying to control him became a familiar in the shape of a dog. So now Katarina has this like magical puppy that lives in her shadow and is like concentrated dark magic, and it's fucking weird, and everyone's just like, that's so weird, what's happening, how did you defeat this magic? And then we find out it's because this item she happened to pick up along the way allowed her to fight the black magic, uh because that's, which is very Katarina, that she was just like, oh, I like this, I like this object, and then it turned out to be incredibly helpful. All right, so this is gonna go like this. I'll go there, okay, and then this goes. Anyway, so they actually think that the guy Raphael, who was the secret villain of the first season, he was like the behind-the-scenes villain of the first season. The same people that experimented with him in making him a black magic user, they think also controlled this woman Sarah, who was the person that was in charge, that were like behind the kidnapping of Keith. Uh, so it is believed that these cases are connected. Uh, anyway, the real important thing is it's time for graduation. It is the end of the second year because the magic or the school that they were all at, it's just a 2-year program. So it is time for graduation. Okay, why is this not connecting? Oh, anyway, yeah, it's time for graduation. So let's see what happens now. Um, a bunch of people give flowers, and it's like a nice little thing. There's a lot of admirers for everybody. Um, Ginger and Frey, who we didn't really see a lot. They're like in the student council, but we didn't really see too much of them. Um, but Ginger has like a tsundere affection for Katarina. Um, anyway, they give flowers, but Ginger actually gives her a bouquet of cookies and candies because she thought that maybe Katarina would like that better, which she 100% does like that better because that Katarina likes sweets. So it's a very, very nice little thing. But then it turns out, Ginger doesn't have a dress for the graduation party that they were all invited to, which takes place at the castle, the king's castle. She's like, I can't go to that. I don't have a nice enough dress. Katarina's like, I got dresses, whatever. I'll get you a dress. So that was a nice little sweet moment. Um, there's some dancing. There's the other brothers and sisters or sister-in-laws of the princes. Um, there's a very funny moment where Nicole invites Katarina to dance with him, and you'd be like, oh yeah, and people like, he doesn't talk that much, so when he talks, people are like, oh, and they're like faint, and you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was like guys and girls, which I thought was like, that's a nice little touch that they're just like, no, everybody's like, holy shit, this dude, swoon, which I just thought was a nice touch. Um, there's going to be an after party a little bit and a sleepover and some girl talk. Um, Keith, the brother who's not actually blood related, is way too aggressive and needs to fucking calm the fuck down. Uh, like totally get the fuck out of here, Keith. Relax. I know you had a life. You had like a real rough patch there, but like, come on, dude. Um, I don't care if you're not related. This girl considers you to be her younger brother. So tough shit. Uh, anyway, there is a sleepover, and the girls are all hanging out. Of course, they're like talking about who they like, and some of the girls basically describe Katarina. And like she doesn't pick that up. And it's fine that she doesn't pick it's fine that she doesn't understand that like ladies love her. Like it is okay that she doesn't get that. That she barely understands that her fiance actually wants to marry her. And she just as now is starting to pick up that the guy that was raised as your younger brother uh, is also in love with her, and she has not figured out about the fact that the her fiance's brother also loves her, or that one of her best friends loves a lady whose lady loves her, the other another girl loves her, and then another third girl. Sophia maybe is in love with her, but also definitely wants her and her brother to hook up. And so maybe she would, but she's like deferring to her brother. And Katarina has no clue, which is fun because uh, at the end, they're basically like they're working in their flower garden, and or no, not flower garden, is the harvest from the fields that Katarina has. And they're like, "What's going to happen next year when you're not home?" And she was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Ginger said she's going to take care of it." And they're all like, oh, man, that's another girl. That's another girl that like got one over. Okay, well, let's add her to the list, I guess, which I thought was kind of funny. But before they get to the harvest thing, a fucking thing happens. A big thing happens, which is Katarina has a dream, and she's back in Japan, and she's in the room of her best friend Achan, but she can't communicate with her, so she's just watching her. And Achan like gets ready to play a video game, and that video game is Fortune Lover 2, the sequel to the video game that Katarina has been trapped in. Because the most of the plot of the first game, not really this season, but the first season's plot was the plot of Fortune Lover 1. Uh, and so they made a sequel. So that is like, to me, a very decent way to justify why this second season was a little roughshod and kind of weird, was because it was like in between the two games. Um, but yeah, she's like, "Oh, Department of Magic, that's where I'm going," and it's the main character is Maria. She's the villain in the story. My next love is the villainess. Um, yeah, so Lysander, Sophia is the reincarnation of Achan, but is not aware of it. Um, be, she is not awoken like Katarina is. But also, this takes place because my assumption is that Sophia, like, maybe that's a dream is a memory before she was reborn. Yeah, I'm not sure. Uh, because they've connected, but really what it feels like is Sophia, and Sophia like has the soul of Achan, but is not aware. Whereas Katarina, because we don't know her name when she was Japanese, when she was in Japan, we don't know what her like. She just like took over basically when her memories flooded back. So I don't know. It's confusing, and it's self-serving, and it does whatever it needs to do to get the job done. Um, but anyway, so she's like, "Oh no, there's a sequel," and it's like, "Oh, Katarina, the Katarina character, not our Katarina, but the Katarina in the video game, messes with Maria in this job, continues to mess with her, and there's going to be like two new people you can romance there, which is weird because most of the ends of Fortune are Maria ending up with Jordo. So it's kind of interesting that there's like, okay, well then they don't get married right away, and then other stuff happens, I guess. And it's like, sure, whatever you got to do, whatever you need to do to make this work. Um, okay, and that's gonna be E21. Okay. Um, anyway, Katarina's like, oh, it's a weird dream. Okay. Uh, and it's actually a vision because after the credits are over, the pseudo credits, like basically after the scene of them doing the harvest stuff, Katarina and Maria go to the Department of Magic where they're going to be working, where they gotten jobs, and They show up and they're like, okay, yeah, we're here. And it's like, okay, cool. Here are two other people that work here. And those two dudes were in the opening of Fortune Lover 2 that she saw. So she was her, it was a vision of like what's coming next. Will there be a season 3? I don't know. They didn't announce a season 3. If they do a season 3, I guess that we'll deal with it when that happens. What I can tell you is that there's going to be a so this is supposed to go in first, and then this goes. What? I can tell you there's going to be a movie. There will be a movie of My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom. Now, will it be a compilation of what happened in the first 2 seasons? Will it be a side story? Will it be the side manga, which is takes place where Katarina, instead of as a young child, remembers her previous life, but instead it takes place where she doesn't wake up until she's in high school, and all the characters, so it's all the characters are pretty set. Whereas this series was her like changing those characters just by being herself, like her great self. Maybe it'll be that. I don't know. But there's going to be a movie. There's going to be a My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom movie. No more details other than they announced that. Because I was like, oh, they're going to announce season 3, right? They did not announce season 3. Because they set up the events of season 3. At least Welcome to Demon School Irma Kun like had the decency to be like, here's what is going to happen in season 3. Also, there's going to be a season 3. Okay, so I got this part done, and then this is going to go to the back of this kit. Working on the shoulders here. These are the parts that involve these screws. Okay, so wasn't there a side story told from one of the other characters' POV? I don't know. I haven't kept up on all that. I mean, that's totally possible that there could be a like I could see them doing from like Sophia's point of view or something, and that would be a compelling story. I don't know. I just know that there's a version that is like what would happen if she woke up in high school and like remembered her memories, so she didn't have all her childhood to she was like awful up until getting there, so she didn't like win everyone over, which I think is an interesting premise. But anyway, I like that show a lot. I'm happy there's going to be more of it, even if it's just a movie. And now I'll tell you about the 12th episode of How a Realistic Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. This season's weird. I think this is the only show this season with 13 episodes. Because last season, it felt like half the shows I was watching had 13. Now, some of them are double length this season. But yeah, this one are in like, at least one of them, maybe it's like the Idol show. The Mappa show. The Mappa show that no one's fucking talking about. Because it's not that good. That I think only has 11 episodes, which is interesting for first thing. But anyway, How Realistic Hero has one more episode next week, so this is episode 10, episode 12 of 13. And some shit went down in this episode. More shit. And this is also the cleanup, basically. So the whole thing of this is this dude gets summoned. He's the realist hero. Gets summoned to a world. They're like, we owe money to the Empire because the Empire is leading this coalition that is taking on the Demon Lord. And we can't fight, so we've been supposed to being helped pay to offset all the costs of this. But we don't have the money to do that. So we summoned a hero. And the idea is that we can give you to them. And someone's like, how about we compromise and we don't do that? And so instead, he ends up becoming the king of the kingdom because he was going to go into civil stuff and like support and he was going to work in the government, probably at a low level in Japan. So he's like, okay, let me help you with your finances. Let's figure this stuff out. So he does a bunch of stuff. He's king. He gets close with the princess who he's going to be married to, and he assembles a crack team of like supporters. The problem is the way the country works is the king has an army, like a small little, the Forbidden Army. The king has like a small little army, but the Air Force, the major real army, and the Navy are all controlled by different people. And the idea was that if the king ever went against the will of the people, that easily the duches, the dukes, I should say, the dukes could come together and take over and take back the kingdom if they ever needed to. And someone was like, "That's all well and good in times of peace, but we got wars going on. There's other things happening. There's this other kingdom. What the hell are they called? Amadonia. They're looking for a chance to invade us because years ago we took some of their land when we fought. So they want that land back. They're gonna fight us. We need to have a uniform front." And they were like, "No, we don't want that." And there were some other reasons why, but anyway, that got settled. And so you'd think, oh, Soma figured this out. This is wrong. I did this wrong. It's supposed to go like that. Oops. Okay. Someone figured it out. We're gonna figure this stuff out. It's gonna be great, right? No, someone's like, yeah. I stopped all the dukes. I brought the country together. We also have this other nation that was trying to invade us, and so we're gonna take their capital city. Their capital city just happens to be near the border with us, so we're gonna take that city, which he does. He easily does that. There's a big fight. The crown prince, because they don't have a king, they have a crown prince. He dies. Basically, he tries to charge. He sends his son away so that there's still going to be a leader, and he's like, "I'm going to kill Soma," which he does not. Spoiler alert: he fucking does not, because Clara the Dragon Newt fights him, and then a bunch of fucking people shoot arrows at him. What do the colors mean on the middle part? Okay, so these colors here above the photo of the kit we're working on, that is my marker guide, because I have some markers here, and it is to help me remember, and so you can follow along with what I'm going to be, what colors I will be using on what parts of the kit for panel lining. Yes, so for the gray on the kit, I will be using the black marker. For the yellow, which is really gold, but whatever, I will be using black as well. And then I will be using brown for the red pieces on the kit. That is often, eventually, I will totally know exactly what I need to be doing, what colors I'm going to be using. But when I start, I often I don't remember what I said for each of these. So that is also a guide for me to have a better understanding of what I'm doing for this kit. All right, so we got the arms that go in here, looking like that. And we now have a lot of the internals of this chest are done. Anyway, so the crown prince of that country, dead, no problem. There was an explosion, whole thing. So Soma basically is just like, okay, we did this. But someone's like, we're not going to take over this country. We don't have the money. We don't have the tools to do this. Also, Soma basically was like, I have to quell an uprising and also fight this other country to a standstill, which he does. But he's also like, and I'm going to have to deal with the Empire because his country did not sign a treaty. So they're not part of this. But there is a treaty with Amadonia and the Empire. And even though Amadonia is the one that invaded Soma's country in the first place, it's still a border change. They took the capital city. That's not going to stand. So Soma's already prepared to know that no, we did this, but we're not done here. There's still going to be more shit, which is interesting. So his big plan is, part of his big plan is, I don't want there to be infighting among the people we just took over. I'm sure they're all freaked out. I'm going to have assurances to them that we are cool. We don't mean them harm. We're not going to try to change their way of life. We're going to try to improve their way of life in some areas. We're not going to this isn't a dictatorship. This is a takeover. So he uses a tried and true method of fucking propaganda. This dude just does propaganda. It's blatant propaganda, and he's going for the cultural victory. Indeed, dirty. But it's like he's aware of it, and he's like, and it's blatant in a way that I like. It's blatant, completely and totally blatant, and over the top. But he is aware of it, and I really like that. I really like that he's like, no, this is the strategy, and they're not trying to sugarcoat the strategy. So they have a way to broadcast like messages and video, and he's like, hey, here's the news. Here's what's happening. Did they introduce the princess of the neighboring country, who was the only smart, rational one of the royal family? Yes, the daughter of the crown prince who is dead. She's like the business-oriented one. She's the one that we saw early in the season, and we were like, "Who the hell is this?" She was like interested in someone's plans. She was like spying from afar, but it took a long time to find out that she was the princess who disagreed with the way that everything was being handled by her father and brother. But yes, we've been introduced to her. Anyway, the culture war is happening right now, and the major plan of this culture war is they have an entertainment program because the people are rightly freaked out. So they have a news program. The king is hosting it, and he's just like, hey, someone's like, hey, what's up? Here's some entertainment for you. And they start with like a sweet young girl who like sings a song, which is great because who doesn't love a cute, precocious child singing a song? And then they bring out Juna, who is like from the race of like incredible singers, like the descendant of like sea creatures like sirens, who sings a beautiful song, and people are just like, that lady is gorgeous and can sing real good. Holy shit. And then someone's like, here's a surprise. Here's the lieutenant governor of your army singing the Amadonian national anthem. And so she's just like singing and she's just like this lady singing this like proud song, and you can see like people like saluting and weeping. And then she's like, all right, I will accept my beheading, which is just like, holy shit, lady. But yeah, she's doing, she's in front of the king that just took over their part of their country. She's like defiantly singing their national anthem. And he's like, hey, just so you know, I don't want to rule a country where you can't sing a song. Freedom to express yourselves. Basically, this militarized country that has been, really mistreated and really like held with an iron fist he's just like, hey, you know what? My country's pretty fucking cool, and we respect your song, even though your song is about taking land from my country. That's cool. And it's very good propaganda. It is that kind of thing where you're like, they're gonna like help work on the food supplies and all that. But if that dude also was like, and here's free blue jeans, like it's that kind of a thing where you're just like, all right, dude, cool. It's pretty good, Soma. But it is like, if you ever seen the anime or read the manga of Gate, that is propaganda about like Japan's army is so cool. We can even defeat monsters. We can fight dragons, and that's like blatant, incredible propaganda, but it's presented as entertainment, and like there's no hint of like awareness that it's propaganda, whereas this is just like, in this story we are going to show you Soma's methods, and he is aware of these methods being underhanded. That's kind of interesting. Tech Scout is saying the shield I just painted is a bit janky, but for my first custom kit, not half bad. There you go. Hey, that's the thing, right? A friend of mine just started doing some weathering, I mentioned before, with the RX-782 entry grade, because it was a kit that he got for $10. And that is a great place to start with weathering, right? He's like, this kit's already good, and I don't mind if I mess it up. because you can't get better at stuff until you do them. Now, I've only done one kit in my life here that was a complete like weird kit bash where I took like a bunch of parts from different kits and kind of put them together and made my own. I've only done that once, and I don't think it was a great. The results were great, but the process was really fun. It was very fun to do some custom stuff. Like it was a good experience, and you got to do that. Uh, when I built the 86, the AE 86 from Initial D, that's a glue kit because it's a car, uh, and I hadn't worked with liquid cement before. I think I did a pretty okay job with that. Now, would it have been better if I had also done some painting? Sure. Did I do that? Because no, because I don't have any skills doing that. But I was still like happy to like try it out. Okay, so these parts are, so this is going to be, I got to figure out where on this kit this yellow goes. This is the chest piece. All right, I'm going to do the old, well, let's see, I'm going to do a couple different ways of trying to figure out how this goes. So this is the top. So this goes on here. So I know this is going to go like here. And then the yellow is going to be somewhere in the middle of it. The yellow has to go here somehow. I don't know how this goes. Because this is that 2007 kit. So some of this is like, this makes all the sense in the world. And some of this is like, what the fuck do they want from me? I'm watching OP in the background. Don't mind me. Well, feel free. 86, man. The Corolla sure was cool. I love that. I love the panda. And Scooby's here. Welcome, Scooty. Sorry, I said Scooby. You're Scooty. Welcome, Scooty. I painted the ARC 782 darker colors, black, gray, and white. Then I took some of the Star Wars Imperial Army logos from the ATST kit and put them on for a weird crossover Gundam. I like that. I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to enlarge this photo because I'm using it as a reference. Okay, so this is going to go on like this. So this piece here is going to go in the middle. I don't know how it goes in because the explanation here in the kit is not great. I think I'm figuring that out. Okay, well now I'm going to make this smaller. Again, this is from an era where you're not getting a lot of instructions here in English, so I'm kind of just figuring it out as I go. Initial D was my favorite anime from my teens. Initial D rules. You are not wrong in that being your favorite. That's a great favorite to have. Initial D was the only anime I could talk with my neighbor who I rode the bus with before I got my license because he did not watch any anime, but he was a car guy. And the idea of a anime about drifting was very appealing to him. So we talked about Initial D, and it was the only, like I said, the only thing we had in common when we were waiting for the bus. And then eventually, I stopped waiting for the bus. So then we could just, then we didn't talk. I believe we talked about Initial D, and that was it. And then we never spoke again. All right. So we put those on there. Let's try to assemble a little bit more of this kit here. We are going to break in a bit. That was the only anime that taught me about engines and suspension. I mean, just like weight differential. And just like, yeah, there was a lot about like that kit, that anime talked a lot about a bunch of stuff that I was like, I don't know what any of this is. Okay, Scooty. Cool. Figuring stuff out is always good. It's always good to take the time to do some internal reflection, to analyze oneself. Gutter move. Oh yeah, using gutters to pick up speed, to take corners better. The people that had to do stuff with their brakes, people that did stuff with their tires. Also, all of the cool Euro, all called the cool Euro music is rad as hell and always interesting. Uh, like that soundtrack is just fucking dope as shit. Well, congratulations, Scooty. That is cool. The self reflection and the self awareness of that is awesome. Congrats on what is the beginning of your journey and not the end of it. Good luck to you as you figure out all that stuff. There's no good guidebook for this stuff. This self exploration, the figuring out oneself, all that. The only good advice I've ever heard is that it's not like you're like, oh, this is me. The end. It's, oh, this is me. Now I have to like figure out what that means and what I'm comfortable with that sharing and what I'm comfortable exploring and who I talk to about that and what does that mean for my past relationships and future relationships and all that. It's the beginning of the process, and the process is fucking great. It can be challenging, but this is the beginning of the journey. This is me is just like the it also, if I can say from personal experiences, fucking feels fantastic to like figure something out about yourself, to be like, oh, like that, oh, feels very good. It is a great moment to have that kind of like sudden awareness of what's going on with you and why you have been feeling the way you've been feeling. Putting a name on things. It's why we name things. It's why we why we come up with terms for things. Is because naming it can often like make it real. And there's a lot of power in naming a thing and identifying a thing and being like, this is me. That's very powerful. So good luck on the continued elements of your journey, figuring out who you are. The important shit that we, so good luck on that. Yes, identity is a powerful thing. It is. It is in many ways a very overlooked thing that people like don't put stock in. So people are like, a thing that some folks have said is like, well, like, like, how did you know? And it's like, well, did you ever ask yourself the question, or did you just assume? Because the people that ask the question often are on their way to figure out some answers. Anyway, I've just got a little philosophical there, and that is a good indication that we are at the end of our stream, is when Pat starts getting just a little philosophical. So we did some work on this kit. We got to put the back pieces on so the parts of the chest here actually stay on. But I am happy where we've gotten on this kit. Because we've got way more to do with this, but we got started on our Strike Noir, which we will continue on the next stream. If this is your first stream here tonight, thank you so much for being here. I hope you come back. My next build stream will be on Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern, because that is when I stream. We will be raiding right now. We always go on the raid at the end of every stream. We share the love. Sometimes the people we're raiding are also model kit builders. Sometimes we're just going to go raid somebody that I think is cool and is doing good work out there. Thank you for the follow, Scooty. Appreciate that. Yes, thank you very much. The good friend, Xandra Vandra, who did all my emotes, who is a lovely, lovely person. We are going to go and give her a raid. I got to turn my volume down on my headphones. So we're going to go give her a raid. So feel free to come along this raid. She's playing a video game. Xandra is an absolute champion and wonderful person. And her community is lovely. I do not do any painting. I do panel lining, but I don't do any painting. I'm not set up for that in this particular area right now. Someday, Look, someday I would like to borrow some equipment because I know some people that have stuff, and I would like to borrow some equipment and do uh, um, some painting, but that is a long way off for me. Because yeah, especially on stream, I don't think I would want to like wear a respirator and like spray paint or do the fine detailed work of using paints and brushes. Either of those things, I think, is just like not something I'm going to do. Anyway, we got to raid Xandris. So let me go do that. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your night. I will see you on the next Build with Bear on Monday as we continue working on this kit, the Strike Noir. I hope you all have a great evening. We're going to go raid Xandris, who's playing a video game and who absolutely rules. So feel free to come along, and I'll see you in the next stream. Bye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.